So now we shift over and shift gears back to AEW Rampage because it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It is a special edition of AEW Rampage because Rampage is usually set to take place on Fridays, but for this week, for some reason, it is a special edition of Rampage on Saturday. That means that tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 Central, on TNT, you got your weekly dose of AEW action. And the TNT Championship will be defended again tonight with AEW TNT Champion Powerhouse Hobbs against Pento e Zero Miedo. Last week it was Ray Phoenix against Powerhouse Hobbs, and this week it is his brother Penta against Powerhouse Hobbs. So both members of the Lucha Brothers are going against the TNT champion. It is fitting for the Lucha Brothers to be in action, as the Lucha Brothers will be one of the teams in the 5-way ladder match for the Reach for the Sky ladder match at Supercard of Honor on next Friday, where the winners will be the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. I think one of the favorites of the match are definitely the Lucha Brothers. There is said to be also a confrontation set between Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson, coming off of Juice Robinson's attack of Absolute Ricky Starks a few weeks ago, and this will likely set something up for the future between the former New Japan star and Absolute Ricky Starks. The feud between the Jericho Appreciation Society and the House of Black continues as Brody King goes against Jake Hager. As this is interesting, and it's interesting because, go back 6 months ago and you would not have seen the House of Black featured this often on programming, so it is a breath of fresh air in my opinion, seeing the House of Black featured on AEW programming, and actually having a creative direction, especially being featured in a prominent fashion against the JAS. Speaking of featured, the newest member of the AEW Women's roster, the current MLW Featherweight Champion, Taya Valkyrie, will be in action again tonight against Leah Gray, as I believe Leah Gray was at one point, or may still be, one of the members of Jade Cargill's faction. So she is setting her sights. Taya Valkyrie still has her sights set on the TBS champion and the undefeated Jade Cargill. But you gotta, I think the best thing to do, as I think it was Ruby Soho, I could be wrong, but I think it was with Ruby Soho, the company had Ruby Soho pretty much go in and immediately challenge for the belt, and that stunted her momentum from the very beginning. So developing some momentum for Taya Valkyrie before a championship match is a lot better choice than having her go right in and challenge for the belt, lose, and not have pre-existing momentum to fall back on. So props to AEW for the booking of Taya Valkyrie from the outset. But now we move to the team without direction, the team that was the former tag team champions, that being the Acclaimed. And the Acclaimed the Acclaimed have what is going to be possibly the match of the night, as they step up against the Kingdom in action tonight. Mike Bennett, it is always a pleasure to see Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, but tonight it will be a spectacular matchup between Mike Bennett and Matt Taven against the Acclaimed, because they are two of the best tag teams in wrestling, in my opinion. And again, much like we spoke about earlier, with the Lucha Brothers being featured in the Reach for the Sky tag team match at Supercard of Honor for the ROH tag team titles, the Acclaimed are one of the 5 members of that Reach for the Sky ladder match on Friday, March 31st. I do want to clarify one thing, as I also don't think I mentioned it, that Next week is WrestleMania week, and the question would be, what are you going to do with the normal programming or the normal content like the Rampage preview that I normally put together on Fridays? I still have every intention of going together with the normal programming, even with the overabundance of previews and WrestleMania news that is expected. I will still be giving the banner to AEW and normal stuff like I do every week, even with WrestleMania, and also even with Supercard of Honor being that day, you will still get the preview next Friday of AEW Rampage. That is, as long as Rampage is not on Saturday, because then we'll give it to you on Saturday, like I'm doing today. But either way, do not fret. There is going to be a boost in programming or boost in content next week with WrestleMania. And one last time, WrestleMania. The coverage starts on Thursday with the multiverse of matches from Impact Wrestling and New Japan, Ring of Honor on Friday with AEW, and then then NXT and WrestleMania on April 1st and WrestleMania on April 2nd. And also, there's going to be likely coverage for both SmackDown and Raw next week, with both being the go-home shows for WrestleMania. With all that out of the way, it has been another busy day of content, so I will see you in the next video.